Sorry for the inconvenience. Just had a small hiccup for the internet, so I think we can continue from where we left off. I don't know why the internet just broke now. Let's continue from where we left off. Let's get back to VS Code. So we have this catch all route error handler. Then we also have this should be able to catch everything that we are having. Anything that doesn't match any of the URL patterns that we are having. So we just broke something here. Save. Then for this, what we'll do is to return status. Then we'll now reuse whatever HTTP status dot method not allowed. Then we just send a message for message not allowed. Why is this having an issue? Okay, this should be send status. I think I'm having the wrong types. And this is kind of wrong. Types do I have here? So in here, I think in the API response, we need to import response from Express and also need request from Express. So that we have status a method not allowed, http status dot method not allowed. Then we pass a JSON with a message so if we just currently it won't do anything. Then so with this we can have this will be private. Then we can also have a private HTTP error handler. So this will take a request error, will take error as the first parameter, which will be type error. So it will be any error, so that's why we'll just have it as any, then request, response, and next. So you have to pass these 4 params so that it's able to confirm that this is a error handler. So before we return anything, we'll first check if error is instance of API error. So API error is the error that we had, so that one. So if it's instance of API error, then now we get the status code from the error. Then now what we do, we just pass here error dot to JSON. So this should return the JSON format of this error. Then so it will also have the meta part for it. Otherwise, if it's something else, then now we return res dot status, which will be internal server error. Then now we now just use our API error, then we get from error, then we pass the error in it, then we convert it to JSON. Then yeah, so then here we'll add a plugin which will take app. So the app will be of type router. Then what we'll do here is to make sure that we catch all app.use dot all so I should catch all. Then also, so this should catch all the errors, then this should catch the errors. So if we were to use something like React, then this is the point where we will plug in React, but that we'll see in later chapters. For now, we'll have it as is like this. So we have this setup. So next we need to see how to plug this into our application. So inside our application here, we'll change things a bit so that we use classes. So in the server section, we'll make some adjustments here. So export plus API server. Then for this API server, we'll have our app, which will be pointing to application, which is from Express. Then we'll have the name of the app, which will be just a string. Then the constructor, which will be just the name. We'll need the name, but for now we'll just name it as application API we'll have it as API server. So in here we'll have express so we can just comment out these ones which we started with. Import express just like that. Then now we'll need to configure this application. So for the setup part in the app, the setup, we'll just need to, I'll comment that out. Export plus API server setup. So this will need to, so this will set up our application, and we'll need to pass our app instance, which will be application. Okay, then so afterwards it should be able to do these ones. So they should be able to do all this. So once this is set, then now we can just inject, we can dependency inject this to the other side. So instead of having it here, we've taken it to the server on this end. So let's adjust and see how now we put this. So inside the server, we'll have a method known as bootstrap. So bootstrap will do, what it will do, it will create our application. So bootstrap will create our application. After creating this application, it will make sure that we set up all the middlewares. So in here we can pass the name if we so wish. Then now after passing the name here, we can just set this dot name to be the name that we've passed there. Then we need to inject some things here. At inject, now we can start doing dependency injection. So what will we be injecting? API server setup. So we'll have it as private read only. So that will be the name of our setup. Then now what we'll do is to call this .api setup express app. Then we pass our app instance to it. After doing that, then we now bring in the middlewares at inject. Then I will pass the error middleware. I don't know whether we exported them. Instead the errors API route error route handlers. We'll inject this here. Then private read only that. So then we do a plugin of this, just as let's set it here. So when you call this plugin, then it should be able to pass all this. Where is it? So when we bootstrap, that should be able to run. Then our API also will need a way to plug it in, so that whatever we are doing with it makes sense. So we'll come to our API in the v1. We'll comment this out for now. Then we'll write export class API v1. Then so the v1, what it will do, we'll have a protected router, which will be a router instance. Then afterwards we'll have a version. So export type API versions. API versions. API versions. I can get that right. So this will be we need to generate a type. So type versions. So for the versions, we'll have, let's say 1 till 10, but let's have it till 9. Then now we'll need to generate a type here. So this will be we'll say v, then $ version. So we check on this, you'll see we get a series of these. So this is how easy it is. We can have those API versions. So what we'll need to do there is to just say API / then we have our API v1, v2, v3. So then we'll add our versions. Then we pass API versions. We'll go just with the default v1. So then what we need to do is to package this application so that everything else makes sense. So this will be this, just have it as that. Then we'll pass our constructor. In our constructor, we'll pass the router. Then we'll also pass the version that we are utilizing. Then after there, we'll need to pass we'll need a way to register our endpoints and also make sure that whatever we are building on, we have a test endpoint. So let's write a test endpoint. Let's see how this goes. If we need to set our application, so our app will be application. So we can have a getter for it and a setter for it. Then now, if we need to write okay. Let me just see. We already have our constructor here. Then we need a way to now plug this into our app. So let's say plugin. So if you run this setup, should be able to set up this dot get, then send status of 200. So this should be okay. Let's just try this if this will work. API v1, then we need to have this as at injectable, then at dependency. Then now we can inject at inject. So what we'll inject is our version 1. Then we pass API v1. Then now we can just use instead of passing this here, and now we can just run this dot app dot v1 dot setup. Then now so instead of having this application here, we'll need to pass let's remove this. I'm not an object-oriented person so much. We'll pass our application, then we'll use the app there. So we have the version, then we have the router. So inside the server, where did we have that? In the setup, then we pass our okay, import the dependency. Yeah. This is the one. Yeah. Let me avoid the constructor injection. So I've just removed the constructor injection and now it seems to be working. So let's remove all those. So in our v1 setup, we have this test route. Which should be working. So we'll just delete this. Then rename this to index. Then for the setup, in our server, we have the setup. Then we'll have here injectable, so that we are able to resolve this dependency. Once that is in place, what we'll need to do is to come to our index here. Let's go back to server. Inside the server, we have the bootstrap. After the bootstrap, then we have the run. So private system. So we'll pass the port number. So after bootstrapping, then we return this. So bootstrap, then we create server. We just return the app. This app. Then for us to listen, we'll need to const server will be create server. So for that server, we'll pass this dot bootstrap.